Back in 2021, when I had my first plant medicine experience, my shaman said something to me that I will never, ever forget. He said, "The only way out is in." In other words, during the session, during the journey, I was not to fight, I was not to resist, I was not trying to get out of, not to control, because the only way out is in the journey, not by resisting the journey, not by fighting the journey, but by flowing with the journey. And that's exactly what I did. I breathed and I went through the most incredible, magical journey. It was scary to begin with, it was frightening, but rather than resisting it, I flowed with it. And that's exactly what life is like. The more that we resist, the more that we fight, the more that leads to suffering, because we're anxious that something is not going to turn out the way that we want it to turn out. That's exactly what anxiety is. Anxiety is the fear of something not turning out the way that you want it to turn out. That's why we have so many people across the globe that are suffering from stress and anxiety. But life is not controllable. You cannot control life. You will be disappointed if you try and control it, because the small you does not understand what the whole picture is. The small you cannot possibly know that there's something bigger in store for you, but you need to go through this pain first, because you need to learn this lesson first. So how many times have you felt overwhelmed trying to make everything in your life go exactly as you plan it to go, and then it didn't work out that way, and you're left feeling exhausted and frustrated and sad, because our minds create these stories that we need that thing to go that way in order for us to feel good about ourselves. But the consequence is that there is stress, there is anxiety, there's strained relationships, and it blocks our growth. So when we grip too tightly to what we think we should have, we miss out on the beauty of what there is. And the beauty is always so much bigger and so much more than what we actually thought that we wanted. What I've learned is that the more I stopped trying to force things from happening, the more everything fell into place in a way that I couldn't possibly imagine that it would. And when we surrender, and it's not easy to surrender, it's really, really hard. This is something I've been doing for years now, and I'm still unraveling all the different layers, because under that layer, there's another layer and another layer. It's not an overnight thing. It's not something you can decide to do and say, from now on, I'm going to flow with life. I'm going to surrender to everything, and everything's going to be exactly as I want it to be anyway. No, because then you still are holding this secret belief that you still want it to turn out a certain way. You still want to earn a certain amount of money. You still think that this is for your highest good. That's not surrender. Surrendering is about trusting when there's nothing there that shows you that it's working out the way that you want it to work out. It's about aligning with higher guidance and really trusting that you will be fine regardless, and that this is to your highest good. Something that I say often to myself is, I trust that life is unfolding for my highest good and for all those around me. So not just for me, but for everybody's highest good. But when you do finally start the practice of letting go, letting God, letting go, you will start to feel lighter, because you know that it's not in your hands. It's not up to you. It's not up to you to work out. Trying to control is something that's been taught to us, but it's an illusion. We cannot control. We can only flow in the river. We can't control the river. And life is like a river, my loves. Life is like a river. Over and over again, every time I have let go, I have found that what was on the other side was so much more than I could have ever planned myself to do on my own. But sometimes we go through these periods where we are letting go and we are surrendering, and there's still nothing on the other side. Okay, that means that you haven't let go enough. And now it's time to let go even more. Now it's time to surrender even more, trusting that you are held, trusting that you will do exactly what you need to do in this lifetime, because you can't not. Pretty much like when you're giving birth, you don't decide when you're going to push. You just can't help but push. It's exactly what life is like. You're not going to be able to help it when the time comes, but in the meantime, all you need to do is surrender. And surrender doesn't mean you lie on the couch and do nothing and wait for the universe to take over. It means you listen to the rhythm of life. You flow with the rhythm of life. You flow down that river and you're completely and totally present to the magic of all there is. If this video resonated with you, I'd love for you to subscribe to this channel and let me know how you are surrendering or how are you controlling. I'd love to know. Sending you so much love.